the Nuggets become very difficult to beat because you know what you're going to get from Jokic. Also, KCP, you can't have more fouls than you have field goals made. 6 fouls, 1 field goal made. We saw how aggressive he was. We saw how well he played, Skip, against the Lakers. We saw how well he played in the regular season. He was one of their key acquisitions this offseason when they made the trade. So I'm expecting those guys. You notice I ain't mentioned the big gun because I already know what he's going to do. You know exactly what you're going to get.
Well, do you? Are you going to get points? Are you going to get assists? Or are you going to get both?
The assist is contingent on guys making shots. If they don't make shots, he'll look to become aggressive, and because he has to. But I'm expecting him to be somewhere in the high 20s. He will have double-digit assists because I'm expecting guys to make shots. You know, obviously, he's going to get the double-digit rebounds. So I think the two big keys, Jamal Murray gives you a little bit more offensively than game 2, and Michael Porter Jr. picks up his scoring output, gives you 15 points, and they win a close ball game.
Win a close ball game in the low hundreds, like?
Yeah, you know what? They get out. See, the thing is, the Nuggets get out and run, and so I'm going to say probably 108-ish to 104-ish, something like that.
108 to 104 says Shannon Sharpe, Joker's biggest advocate. I got to say, you got a lot of notes over there. You got a lot of ammo. I've never seen so much preparation. I've never seen so much research.
This is my little game notes right here.
Really? Okay. Well, you got them everywhere. I'm starting to feel overmatched, right?
You will be tomorrow morning.
Really? Okay.
I'm going to come out here with an encyclopedia notes.
All right. I was hoping, against hope, that maybe we would have a Tyler Hero sighting tonight.
Right.
Eric Spoelstra ruled that completely out yesterday. No Tyler Hero for Game 3.
You still having swelling in the hand, right? It's a little sore, he said.
He has a broken hand. Right. They put a screw in it. I don't know. It just happened not that long ago. It was Game 1 of the playoffs, but it was against Milwaukee. And obviously, to date, they haven't missed him. So to start off, I'm going to quote the now late, great Tina Turner, "We don't need another hero." Remember that from Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome? Did you actually see that?
I actually saw that.
I actually liked that.
I love the Mad Max series.
Thank you. So did I. We don't need another hero because we got enough of them. They come from everywhere when you least expect it. Do I expect Duncan Robinson to start the fourth quarter tonight to score 10 points in 2 minutes and flip the whole game on its head? I do not.
Right.
It just comes so unpredictably from so many different sources. But the good news yesterday, as opposed to the bad news on Tyler Hero, was Caleb Martin says he's back to almost 100%. He was suffering migraines and chills and had a cold towel over his head after Game 2 in Denver. This is the same Caleb Martin, once cut by Michael Jordan in Charlotte, who then turned his game around to the point that he should have been the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals, because over the last 5 games of the Eastern Conference Finals against the mighty Boston Celtics, Caleb Martin went for 19 a game with 7 rebounds and was sensational. He was, dare I say, Kawhi-esque with that mid-range jumper. It just looked unstoppable to me. And then he goes to Denver and he scores 3 points in Game 1, and then he gets benched in the fourth quarter. And then in Game 2, he scores a grand total of 3 points, although they were fairly significant because he finally made a 3-point shot.
Saw one go
with
in.
4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But that was it, the extent of his productivity. 3 points and 3 points. To your point about your role players, he is an ultimate role player for this team. I think he comes back to life because, again, the ultimate NBA cliche, playoff-wise, is role players play better at home. Okay, so he's back home, maybe more back in his comfort zone, and I think he's going to have a good to very good night tonight.
Well, I hope you're lying, because I don't need Gabe Vincent to play any better than what he played on the road.
All right, well, there you go, okay? And I expect Gabe Vincent just to be Gabe Vincent. But now to my biggest gun. Bam plays big for 6 feet 9 inches playing the 5. And I know what he's going to give me, which is every last drop of his sweat. But he's like my Joker. I just know what he's going to give me. It's not going to be Joker-esque numbers, but he's going to give me whatever he's got to give me. It is time for playoff Jimmy to spring back to life. And especially tonight at home in what you could argue is a pivotal game 3.
Yeah.
For momentum's sake.
It feels like a game 5. It feels like the series is tied, and whoever wins, game 5, you only have 2 games left.
You well could be right, because let's just say that the Heat do win this game.
Right.
All of a sudden, they take a commanding advantage, because then they got game 4 still in their house.
Right at home.
And if they could win that, they'd go up 3-1, and I'd give them a pretty good shot at that point.
Yes.
A game like this, of this magnitude, requires your best player to be your best player.
Okay.
Over the last 7 games, Jimmy Butler's productivity has fallen completely off to 21 a game with 7 rebounds and 7 assists. By most player standards in playoff run, that's pretty good.
That's not bad.
But
playoff Jimmy.
This is playoff Jimmy, and he ain't been around.
Right.
Talking about ghosting. He's been ghosting them as playoff Jimmy, because too often he's been way off Jimmy, because he's shooting over those last 7 games, 39% from the floor. That just won't cut it. Yet, they've lived to tell.
Right.
They somehow won Game 7 at Boston, and he had nice contributions, but not enormous, sensational contributions. And they won Game 2 with decent contributions, but he was 7 of 19. That's 37% shooting. It's not good enough. It's not what you would come to expect from him. Now, does he make all the little big plays that add up to big contributions? Sure he does. We get that. But they need, well, you know what happened against Milwaukee? We got to see a 56 out of Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Well, could we get a...
He averaged 38 for the series.
Okay, all right. Could we get a 36 out of him tonight? Maybe. Okay, I think it's going to require a 36 from Jimmy Butler tonight to stave off what's going to come from your side, which is probably those guys are going to make more three-point shots, especially the 2 that you focused on.
KCP and Porter Jr.
Yeah. They're just going to make some shots because they're just too good.
Right.
You know, especially KCP. He won a championship with the Lakers. He's been a solid, steady, dependable contributor on both ends of the floor. I expect them to play better. All right, now back to your guy, the Joker. I do think that thanks to the brain trust of the Miami Heat, starting with Eric Spoelstra and going upstairs to the Godfather, Pat Riley, I think they got in their cave, as they called it. And they did try to come up with a new formula whereby to at least sort of antagonize, distract, frustrate Joker by forcing him into an identity crisis, because he did have one the other night, because after a while, the reluctant scorer that he is in the second half, he's saying, wait a second, somebody, if you guys aren't going to do it, I'm going to do it.
Because he had no choice. They forced him into that situation.
They forced him into it, and he scored 41 total, but he scored 28 in the second half. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The Heat stole game 2.
Right.
Well, can he play much better than 28 in the second half? I don't think so, because in the fourth quarter, he was scoring at will and on Bam and on Caleb and on anybody else, right? Right?
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, if you look at game 1, he had 3 shots total at the half. They were up 17.
Yep.
He goes into the fourth quarter. He has only taken 2 shots in 12 minutes of the third quarter. So he has 5 shot attempts, and they're up, 19-21. So it goes to show you, as long as guys are making shots, he's very, very reluctant to try to put the ball into the basket, because he wants everybody to maintain their rhythm. Now, as you mentioned, they got outscored in game 1, 30-20. As the game tightened, he started to take over. He started to take more. He started to be more of an offensive threat.
And obviously, you wind up with only 4 assists. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying in game 1.
Yeah. Oh, in game 1.
Remember, they went on that run, got the game down to 9.
Once he got,
Right. So he felt he's like, okay, now I got to get going.
Yep.
But in game 2, they started. I mean, basically once the Heat got going from the jump, because they were up at one point like 13. And then the Nuggets come back and take control of the Heat come back and take control of the game, Skip. And he's looking around, and Michael Porter Jr. is clinging. He's looking around, and KCP is clinging. And nobody's making shots. So now he's like, what? Man, we see it's a 5-point, it's a 9-point, it's 11-point. I got to go.
Okay. The Heat are still being underestimated, especially on the defensive end, because they don't have a reputation for being a shutdown defensive team. But their mindset, their IQ, their willingness to commit body and soul to the defensive end is still being underestimated. Because those shooters you're talking about, I do think much of the time they had hands in face, much more than the Miami shooters had hands in face. because that's why Michael Malone went into his Shakespearean tirade, is because they're just leaving too many shooters wide open.
Well, Skip, how many times you going to let them run that curl action and then the guy flares to the corner for a wide open three? Michael Porter Jr., how many times you going to do that? Brown, the young guy, the rookie guy from Kansas, how many times you going to let him run the curl action off the pick and then the guy flares to the corner and shoots a wide open shot?
And you go the wrong way.
Okay. But Skip, here's the thing. The difference is, you're right, maybe some of those shots were contested, but how many shots did we see the Lakers contest and they still splashed? Whether it was Jokic, whether it was Porter Jr., whether it was KCP, whether it was Jamal Murray, it didn't even matter if they got a hand in his face.
Okay, they shot out of their mind, just the way the Heat continue to shoot out of their mind. Okay, so is it possible the Heat get turned back into pumpkins tonight at home, as we thought in Game 1 they were, exposed as frauds? It's possible, but they are shooting as a team from three 39%, which is a little better than your team is shooting at 38.2.
But the thing is, Skip, with the Nuggets, they shot good from the three all year. You guys didn't shoot. The team didn't shoot good from the three. They
27th in the league from three during the regular season. They had some guys hurt, but they're a team that does not focus on regular season playoff Jimmy. Sort of, he hides in the shadows and he saves himself and paces himself. And all they care about is, are we in the play-in? Because if we're in the play-in, we got a shot.
Right.
Okay, so this is 20 games into the postseason now.
Right.
So it's a 20-game sample size.